Yeah, yeah. So let's start with the presentation and we'll take it forward from there. So let me just share my screen and let me know if my screen is visible, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope my screen is visible to you.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, okay, great. So this is the first session, so we won't, dig a lot deeper in this session. We'll try to understand about what is software testing, and why do we want to learn software testing, okay? And then what are the uh, basic principles of software testing? Why do we need software testing? And what are the errors, faults, and failures that is very basic to software testing. So basically today in this session we are going to understand the requirement of software testing, why do we need software testing, what is the definition of software testing, and the principles of software testing. Okay,
Mhm.
so before we begin, I mean, let's go to the very basic. What software? What do you think? So this, I don't need I mean theoretical definition here. What do you understand by software? By the term software?
It is a computer program or an application that we can use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. So yes, so software is basically a computer program. Obviously, it has to be a computer program. But apart from that, every computer program is not a software. Okay. So when we have a bunch of computer program which is interacting between them and it becomes an utility to us, then we can call it software. But apart from that, there has to be a documentation as well. Because if you have a computer program which doesn't have a software and which is not being utilized as an utility, then we can't call it as a software. Then it's a program only. It's a computer program only. So to call it as a software, there has to be some modules, some different modules of computer program which is talking to each other, and then there has to be a proper documentation as well. Then, as a whole, we can call it as a software. So, is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So there are basically two types of software which we should know. So do you have any idea or any guesses what are the different type
No,
of software?
no,
Okay,
no.
okay, great. Okay, fine. So there are basically two types of software. The first one is system software and the second one is application software. Okay. So what do
Mhm.
we understand by system software and what do we understand by application software? So system software is basically the software that are required to in our system or in our machines. Like we have this laptop or you are joining through a desktop or a mobile application. So basically the system software is basically the OS or the drivers that are installed here, which talks in between the software and a hardware. So if I give you an example, like the OS that is installed on my laptop, okay? So this talks with the hardware of this laptop or the drivers, the printer drivers that are installed. So that helps us to like connect to a printer, right? Or Android version or an iOS version. So these are the softwares which are the system software which helps us to connect to a particular hardware or it acts as the system. It acts as the different acts as the or it helps us to connect to different systems or different hardware. So that is called as the system software. And the next one we are having as the application software. So application software can be basically of two types. The first one is the computer programs. So those are also the softwares. Like we have different compilers or different interpreters according to different programming languages. So there are different programming languages, right? Like there is a C, C sharp, or Java, or like PHP or .NET, C sharp. So these are the different programming languages, and to execute our program using different programming language, we need some of the softwares like compilers. There are compilers or there are interpreters, which helps us to execute those programs which we write using any programming language. So those are termed. You are getting me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So those are a type of application software, and then we have utility software. Like if I give you an example, like you have used Microsoft Word probably, or the Excel, or any other like PPT, or any other applications, or like even the Zoom through which you have joined this session. So these are termed as the software or application software which are we use as an utility in our day-to-day life. So these are the different type of software that is very basic to know. So do you have any question till now?
No.
Okay, great. So we'll proceed from here. So now, as we know what is software, we know the basics of a software. So now we'll understand what is software testing and what is the requirement of software testing. Why do we need to test the software? Okay. So what is software testing? So there could be a thousand of definitions. If we Google the term software testing, you'll get a thousand of definition. Various people have defined it in their different way. But according to me, if you will ask me that, okay, Sunny, you have almost 9 years of experience. So what software testing according to your experience? So my answer would be it's a journey. Software testing is a journey which will change you eventually. If you take it as a profession, and if you do like software testing, it will actually change you, and it will derive you, or it will drive you to perfection. So software testing is a journey which derives us, or which drives us to the perfection. And why do we need software testing? Software testing is basically an activity in a software development. So when we talk about different softwares and the software development process, it's an inevitable activity that is it's in all the process of the software development, and it's an investigation performed against the software to provide information about the quality of the software to stakeholders. So whenever we talk about software and we talk about the IT industry, the deliverables as an team, so we do deliver them the software, right? So the users or the clients, they come up with a requirement that, okay, this is my requirement. I do need to use. We have certain and certain use cases, and according to that, I need a software which will meet this requirement, right? So now when the development of the software starts, we need to also make sure that whatever is being developed, that is being developed as per the requirement, and after the development process is done, so whatever has been developed, so that is meeting the end goal, that is meeting the requirements, and whatever the client needs, the software is meeting their goals. So that the whole process is called as software testing. So are you able to understand what is software testing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
great. Give me a minute. I'll just take a call. Yeah. So, Susan, like, do you understand now what is software testing?
Yes.
Okay. So I have given some of the definitions that are there, like to ensure that the software meets the agreed requirements and design. As I mentioned, like whenever the client comes up with the requirement, they provide us the requirement, and the requirement is first documented, and the design documents are created, and then whenever we get our end result, the end software, so we need to make sure that the software meets the agreed requirements and the design. So that is the software testing. The process is called software testing. Then the application works as expected. It's obviously like if we have an application like this Zoom. So this Zoom has different features. I'll take an example of the Zoom software itself. So this Zoom has different features, and when the client has asked to, or the product owner has asked to, you know, develop this Zoom application, so there must be some specifications of the requirements. And when this Zoom was developed, so the testers were asked to test the software to see whether this works as expected. So if
Mhm.
I take an example of the screen sharing, so whether when I'm using the Zoom software, whether I'm joining from the browser, or if I joining using the Zoom application, so whether it's working as expected or not, whether I'm able to share my screen or not, whether I'm able to share, there are different features in the screen sharing as well, like whether I'm able to share a particular browser instance, whether I'm able to share the entire screen, or whether I'm able to share a particular application or not. So these are the different features that I need to test, and I need to make sure that the application is working as expected. So this is software testing. Now the third that is written here, the application doesn't contain serious bugs. Okay. So whenever a particular application is developed, there could be different type of bugs. Some of them might be minor bugs, some of them might be major bugs. So as a tester, we need to make sure that the application doesn't contain serious or major bugs, right? So whenever a particular application or whenever something is developed, you it's like almost impossible to make sure that it's 100% bug free. There could be minor bugs which might not affect the behavior or the requirement, or like the feature of the application much, but we need to make sure, as a tester we need to make sure that the application should not or must not contain some serious bugs, because if we are having some serious bugs, that means it will deviate from the requirement, right? Whatever requirement the client has provided, the end goal, the end software is deviating from the expectation, and that might lead to a lot of problems, like that might lead to some serious monetary problems. Like if we are having an application which deals with the banking software or deals with the financial software, so a minor bug also can cost the client for millions or billions, right? So that is something that we need to make sure that the software doesn't contain some serious bugs. Apart from that, we can have other bugs as well, which can cause the brand value of the client. So that's why whenever we are testing, we need to keep these things in mind, and accordingly, we need to test the software so that we can make sure that the application doesn't contain serious bugs. And finally, it should meet its intended use as per the user expectation. So if I give you an example, suppose the user has asked you to, build an calculator application or calculator software, which should gives you the proper features of a calculator. Now, if when you are testing, you're seeing that you are trying to add 5 plus 6. Okay, so that is basically an addition feature, right? So whenever you are trying to add 5 and 6, it gives you the value 10 as result. So now if you're thinking that, okay, I'm trying to add two values and if it's giving me a result as well. So can you say that it's a bug-free software? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I think you got dropped off, right?
Yeah, I got dropped off.
Okay, okay. So,
5 minutes now.
okay, I didn't got that. I was just speaking. So where was I? Like, when did you drop off?
It was about the software testing, the end of it. What is the use of software testing?
Okay, okay.
Like you were telling, if we use the Zoom appliance, I mean, there's so many things to be tested.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we were in this point, right? The application works as expected.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. So I'll just repeat the thing. So yeah, so I was talking that like if we take a particular feature of Zoom, like the screen sharing feature of Zoom. So in this case, like you can see, uh, there are different options, right? When we share a screen, we get different options. Like we can share a particular browser window, or even like we can share the whole application or a particular uh, application itself. So now when you will be asked to test the Zoom application or like a particular feature of Zoom application, then you will be asked to test all these scenarios, and you need to make sure that all these scenarios are working as expected. And after testing those things, you will be able to tell that, okay, the application is working as expected. All the features of the application are working as expected. So that's why the software testing is also required. Now, the third point is the application doesn't contain serious bugs. So when we work with any software, uh, we need to make sure that the application doesn't contain serious bugs. So what do you understand by a bug? A bug is basically the deviation of the behavior, the deviation from the expected behavior and the actual behavior. So suppose if I take the example of a calculator, you are asked to test a calculator and you are using the summation function of the calculator. You are trying to add 5 plus 6 and you are getting 10 as a result. So you are getting a result, right? You are getting a result here. So, but is the expected behavior and the actual behavior correct?
Hmm?
Uh,
Pardon? What did he
so
say?
you are trying to add 5 plus 6 in a calculator and you are
Yeah.
getting 10 as a result.
No,
So
that's not
in
right.
this case,
So, yeah.
is the expected behavior and the actual behavior correct? Although you are getting a result, although you are getting 10 as the summation, so you are trying to add two values and you are
Mhm.
getting a result. But the expected behavior is you should get 11 as the result, right? But you are
Right,
getting
right.
10. So here the expected result and the actual result is deviating. So that's why you can say that, okay, this software contains some bug. Although you are getting a particular result, but the result is not accurate or correct. So bugs can cause serious damage to the customer. Like if we talk about the banking softwares or the software like which are related to financial domain. So even a very minor bug can cost them billions or millions, right? So that's why we need to make sure that the application or the software that we are testing, that shouldn't contain some serious bugs. Okay. And finally, we need to make sure that the application or the software meets its intended use as per the user expectation. So as we were talking about the calculator software, right? So as the same example that I was talking about, if we are trying to add 5 with 6, it should give us the result as 11. It should meet the intended use. Now, if you are trying to do the addition and it's actually doing the multiplication, so then it's not meeting our intended use. We are trying to do the addition and it should give us the result of the addition. It should not do the multiplication or any other type of functionality that we are not trying to intend, right? So we should make sure that the software meets its intended use. Okay. So I'll try to take a pause here and ask you if you have any questions till now, whatever we have
Yeah,
discussed.
yes. Yeah, I have only one question. You said the application doesn't contain serious bugs. That means there are
Yeah.
bugs that are less serious that it can contain?
Yeah. So maybe when we have a software, okay, it's very hard to make or to tell that okay, this software is 100% bug free. This is very hard. I mean, I have never came across a situation where you can say that okay, this software is 100% bug free. There could be some of the minor bugs which we can avoid as well, which cannot be tested or which we can actually avoid. Like if I give you an example, suppose we have a software which we have developed for different browsers. We can actually access the browser from different access the application from different browser like Chrome or Firefox or like Safari. So there are different browsers present, right? Now the users of that application, okay? Now the users of that application are basically, or the client that is going to use that software, they are going to use say Chrome only. They are going to use the application using the Chrome browser. Now when we are using or testing the software using the Firefox browser or say uh, uh, Safari browser, we are seeing that it's taking a lot of time to load that particular application. Okay. Uh,
Mhm.
you are getting me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but when you are trying to launch the same application using the Chrome browser, it's all right. It's loading within 2 or 3 seconds. So that's fine. Okay. So now it's a minor bug, right? When you are launching the same browser using say Firefox or Safari, it's taking say 30 seconds to load the application. But when you are launching it through Chrome, it's launching within 2 or 3 seconds.
Mhm.
Now we need to consider that okay, it's a minor bug. There is a bug in the application, but what uh, the user or the client is going to use, whether they are going to use the Firefox browser, whether they are going to use the uh, 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 say Safari browser, or they're going to use the Chrome browser. Now if all the users are going to use the Safari browser, then you don't need to go to the application to the programming and resolve the bug, because the users are actually not going to use the Firefox browser or the Safari browser. So it's almost like useless to fix that bug. And if you are trying to fix that bug, it might cause some other issues as well, which will in turn affect the functionality in the Chrome browser. So we can say that okay, there is some minor bug that is present in the application, but that is not harming or that is not affecting the expectation or the features of the software that we or the client is expecting from us. So in that
Mhm.
case, we can say, okay, these are some of the minor bugs that the application is having, but okay, we are fine with that. The application might have those minor bugs, and that is fine to have. We can go ahead with those minor bugs as well. Okay,
Okay.
so even like there could be some of the minor bugs which can affect the customer seriously, right? So that depends on the bug itself. That depends on how much that minor bug is affecting the application, or how much that minor bug is affecting the client. And accordingly, if it even if the minor bug is affecting a lot, the developers might have to go and fix that bug.
Okay.
So from our testing point of view, the rule of thumb is whenever you are getting any bug, it can be a major bug, it can be a minor bug, you should report that. Okay, you should report any bug that you are getting. The
Okay.
reason is sometime it might happen that we are not able to understand how much that particular bug is going to affect. Okay, affect the business, affect the client. So whenever you are testing a particular application, you should log the bug. Whenever you are finding any particular bug, just log it and let the management, let the BA, let the managers, decide whether it has to be fixed or not. Okay,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
if they decide that okay, this is a very minor bug which is not going to affect the business, that is not going to affect the application, and it will there are different parameters actually. If they find that okay, this is a minor bug which is not going to affect the application, or this is not going to affect the business, and at the same time it it is going to take a lot of time for the developers to fix the bug. So in that case, they might decide that okay, let the bug be there, and we'll fix it in the next release. So when we talk about the releases, when we talk about the application, so it normally takes a lot of releases, or there are continuous releases or continuous improvements, continuous feature additions that are made. Okay, so so then they might decide that okay, let the minor bug be there, and we'll fix the bug in the next release. So this depends on the situation, and I think I am able to answer your query that
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
the application might have some of the minor bug, but it depends on the application, and it depends on the scenario how much that minor bug is affecting, and in that way we will go for fixing the bug. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Mhm.
Yeah. There are other definitions of the software testing as well. Like the first one is, testing is the process of establishing confidence that a program or system does what it's supposed to do. Right? As we already discussed about it, whenever you are finding the bugs and the bugs are getting tested and resolved by the developers, so the confidence level as a team will go up, right? You can say that okay, now this application is behaving as per the expectation, and we should go ahead and release the software. So this enhances the confidence, and you can say that okay, this software is performing whatever it's intended to do. Testing is a process of executing a program or system with the intent of finding errors. Obviously, when we'll be testing a particular software, so as a tester, our motive will be to find the errors, because that's what we are being paid for, right? So there is already a
Mhm.
development team who will be developing the software, and they will also test from your end. But as a tester, you need to set a mindset. You need to set your mindset in such a way that okay, if I am trying to test this software, I need to find the bugs, I need to find the error, because that's what you are paid for. That's what
Mhm.
I am paid for as a software tester. I need to find bug. Otherwise, if I'm not finding bugs, if I'm not okay, if the bug is 100% error free, if the developers are so much efficient that they have developed the software in such a way that there is not a single bug in, or there is not a single error in that software. But seriously speaking, I mean, from my 9 years of experience, or like from the testers across like the era, there has not been a single tester who has not found any error while testing a software. So there will be errors, there will be programming errors, there will be some of the human errors that the developers will be making, and which will result in the application having the bugs or the errors. So as a tester, your motive or your mindset will be to find those errors, so that those are fixed by the developer, and we can deliver a bug free application, or a application which is not having any major bug, which might result in the loss of feature, or which might result in the loss of business for the user or for the client. Now, the software testing is a process of exercising or evaluating a system by manual or automatic means to verify that it satisfies specified requirements, or to identify differences between actual and expected results. So we have talked about this as well. So software testing is a process, as I mentioned earlier. That software testing is a process, and there are different way to do the testing. We have the manual process, we have the automation process as well. Like we can write some code as well, which will go and test the software automatically through the code. So, and also there is a manual process through which we can test the software. We can test the software manually as well. So this is a whole process through which we make sure that it satisfied the specified requirements, whatever requirements the user or the business has specified, and we need to identify the differences between the actual and expected results through this process. Now, testing is any activity aimed at evaluating an attribute or capability of a program or system. Testing is the measurement of software quality. Obviously, when you are delivering a bug-free software, you can say that the quality of the software is very high, and testing actually measures the quality of the software. So whenever you are getting a lot of bugs, whenever you are testing a software and you are getting a lot of bugs out of there, we can say that the quality of the software is not good, and that's why you are getting a lot of bugs out of that, right? So testing will actually also measure the quality of the software. And finally, testing is demonstrating that a system is fit for purpose. Obviously, when you'll have uh, when you won't have a lot of bugs, you won't have a lot of major bugs, then you can say that it fit for the purpose that it was developed for. So till now we have gone through a lot of definition, and I have tried to understand you through a lot of examples as well. So I'll take a pause here, and I'll ask you if you have any queries, so that I can answer them, and then we can move ahead to the next section.
No, I think I'm fine.
Okay, okay, fine. I'll take 5 minutes of break here. You can also, if you need, you can take a 5 minutes of break, and then we can resume to our next like section.
Sure,
Is that
sure.
fine?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 7:10 here. So let's meet after 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Sure. Resume the recording. Okay. And I'll start the sharing as well. So hope my screen is visible to you.
Uh, Not yet. It's plain, right? It's plain. Yeah,
Okay,
I
okay.
got it.
So, Susan, like if I ask you that why did you choose software testing, what would be your answer? Because like it would help you in the interviews as well. Whenever you will start, attending the interviews, they will ask you that, okay, you were into a different domain, and now you want to, come to software industry, and you are choosing software testing. So, what is the reason? That you are trying to come into this industry, and you are choosing software testing as your profession.
Well, it is, I guess, with some education, it is a field I can understand, and I think I can work capably
Mm-hmm.
because as a nurse we use different programs. So I guess to understand how it functions and what it demands, I think it's with education, it is going to be an interesting job.
Okay, okay. Yeah, like as I mentioned, that software testing is a journey, and it will make you, tending towards the perfection. So it's like whatever software or whatever in whatever industry, because there are different domains as well in software testing or in IT. So whatever domain, like you are already from a healthcare domain person. Interestingly, in my current like job, I am also in the healthcare domain. Like whatever applications that
Oh,
I
good.
do test, those
Mhm.
are from the healthcare industry.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we have different clients as well from US, like you have probably heard about Mayo Clinic.
Oh, yeah. My son-in-law works for Mayo Clinic.
Okay, okay. So they
They
are
use the
also,
Epic program.
yes, yes. So Epic integration, and like I am currently working in Highland, so they have the integration with the Epic, and I do test those softwares as well, right?
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. So these are the things, like whenever you're testing a thing, you need to make sure, and the responsibility comes to you to make sure. I mean, as a tester, the responsibility comes to you to deliver or to make sure that whatever software you are delivering as a team to the client, that meets their end goals, and that is serving the society as well. Like when we talk about mostly about the education sector or as the healthcare sector, so it's serving the society as well. So in a way or other, you are serving the society as well by providing them a good software. So that is also a way through which you are providing your service. And as well, as a profession as well, you are making sure that the client is using something that is bug free, that is error free, and that is fulfilling their requirement. So in that
Mhm.
way, you can say that I am choosing the software testing because I think I'll be able to take up the responsibility to make sure that whatever we are delivering, that is a quality product, and that meets the end goal. So and like there can be different domain in which you will be working, and accordingly you need to learn new tools or technologies as well. We will see in our course that what are the different tools that are there, or according to the domain, how the learnings will be changing, and what are the different things that you will need to learn. So we'll see those things in our upcoming classes as well. Okay.
Mhm.
So now we'll try to understand why do we test the software, right? We were also talking about what is actually software testing, but we'll try to understand why do we test software. And I will suggest you to take notes. Okay, so whenever you need to take note of this thing, although like you will be getting the recording, I guess. So you have got the access to the dashboard and all, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Uh, uh, but beside that, if you want to take any note while the class, you can ask me to take a pause there. You can take the notes, or if you have like any queries, you can ask me there itself. Uh, there will be some slides where the details won't be there because we can't put each and everything in a particular slide, right? So if I just go to the next slide, the principle of software testing. So we have just kept the points here. The details are not there, although I'll be telling the details to you. So in those cases, I would request you to take the notes, like this pesticide paradox. What is this pesticide paradox? If you don't take a note there, you won't be able to remember the thing, right? So in these cases, it will be good if you take the note, so that when you'll revise those things, you'll be able to recall the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now let's try to understand that why do we test software. So software testing is necessary because we all make mistakes. As I was telling you, that it's almost impossible for the developers to write a code which is bug free. There could be some human error, there could be some programmatical error which might be there, and which might cause some errors or some bugs in the software. So some of those mistakes might be unimportant, but some of them are very expensive or dangerous. So that's why we need to check everything and anything we produce, because things can always go wrong. Human can make mistakes all the time. And that's why as a software, the responsibility is on us to test the software and to make sure that it's a bug free, or like at least the software shouldn't have any major bug. So the first point says that the software testing is really required to point out the defects and errors that were made during the development process. During the development process, the developers might make some human error. They might make some programmatical error, and that might cause the deviation between the expected result and the actual result. So as a software tester, the software testing is important because we need to find out those deviations, and then we need to raise those deviations, and then the developer needs to fix those defects, or needs to fix those bugs. And once those bugs are fixed, so at that time you need to again retest. So it's not like you have just raised the concern that, okay, these are the deviations that I have found, and now you have to fix it. Once those bugs are fixed, it again the responsibility is upon you to make sure that, okay, the developer has fixed the bug, and you need to now retest those bugs, and you need to make sure that the bugs are fixed now, and there is no deviation in between the expected result and the actual result, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the second point is it's important to ensure the quality of product. Quality product delivered to the customer helps us gaining their confidence, reliability, and satisfaction. Obviously, whenever a customer or a client is spending a lot of bucks to develop a particular software, they should be expecting the quality of the product, right? Now, if you are delivering a product to them which is having a lot of issues, which is not a good quality product, then their confidence will go down. They won't rely more, and they won't be satisfied. So as a service provider, it's your responsibility to deliver the quality product, and as a tester, the responsibility is upon us. The responsibility is on the tester to make sure uh, that the product which is being developed, or the product which has been developed, is maintains its quality, right? Okay, so the third point says that testing is necessary in order to provide the facilities to the customers, like the delivery of high quality product or software application, which requires lower maintenance cost and hence results into more accurate, consistent, and reliable result. Now, what do you understand by this term maintenance cost?
So there are not, you don't have to send it back to test again because of bugs, which is expensive. You have to pay people to do that. So less
Yeah,
bugs, lower maintenance, good quality product, lower maintenance.
exactly, exactly. So there, the bug could be found at different levels as well. We will see those in the upcoming sessions. So there are different levels of testing, right? The testing can be done at the development time when the developers are doing their development. They will be doing some of the testing from their end as well. Okay, then it will come to the phase of the testing, the actual testing, when we will actually test the bug as a software tester. We will test the bug, then it will go to the acceptance testing, and the user, the end user, they will also test it from their end, and then it will go to production. Production means the end user will actually testing or using the software. Now, while the software is in production, when the end users are actually testing or using the software, at that time also you can get some of the bugs which are called as production bugs. Okay, now if you are getting the bugs when it's already deployed and it's being used, it's in production, and if you're finding the bugs at that time, so then the entire process has to be revised, right? It will come
Mhm.
to the developers. The developers will again do the necessary code changes. They will fix the bug. Then again, as a tester, you need to retest those bugs and you need to make sure that the bugs are fixed. Then the developers will actually then deploy the application. It has to be again tested by the end users, and then it will be deployed to the production, and it will go to the production. And throughout this time, there could be a significant amount of loss of business for the end users as well, which
Mhm.
will make the maintenance cost higher, right?
Mhm.
So that's why testing is necessary to make sure that before the application goes to the production, all the major bugs are found and those are fixed, those are retested, so that again, the end goal is to deliver the quality product. So throughout the journey, or until like you are there, till the time you are there in this profession of software testing, you will hear the term the quality product. So the end goal is to deliver the quality product, and we need to make sure that we are delivering the quality product. And for that, like from the beginning of the process, from the beginning of the life cycle, we need to make sure, we need to strategize our testing so that we can make sure that we are delivering the quality product to the user, right?
One question. So,
Yeah.
at which stage, when you're talking about developers, you're talking about the final product, but
Mhm.
when does the tester come on the scene?
Great question, great question. So for that, in the upcoming sessions, we will go through about different life cycles. Okay, there is a software development life cycle and there is a software testing life cycle as well. The testing starts along with the development process. Okay, so
Mhm.
if there are different mechanism as well of the software development life cycle, there are different methods. We will see through those in our upcoming session. Like there is a waterfall model, there is a agile model, but like to answer your question right now, my answer will be throughout the journey, throughout the process, the testers will be involved. I mean, whenever the requirement, the end users or the customer, they will provide us their requirement. The developers and the testers will get involved in the process. Okay,
Okay.
so from the
Okay.
beginning of the process, the testers will be involved.
Okay. Thank you.
The testers will be involved to test the application. It will be certainly, it will be after the development process is done. But when the developers will be involved in developing the software, at that time the testers will have their own work. They need to be, ready with their armor to test. So it's a battle. It's a battle between the developers and the testers, right? And throughout your journey in this profession, you will see that the developers will be saying that no, this is not a bug, and you'll be saying no, I'm getting in my system. See, this is deviating the behavior is deviating from the expected behavior, and it's actually a bug. So for that, there are different mechanism. You need to you know design your tests in such a way so that you are uh, covering all the scenarios when you will be testing, and for that you will be needing exhaustive planning as well. So those plans are normally done while the developers will be doing their development.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now the fourth point is testing is required for an effective performance of software application of product. So these are like the synonyms. Okay, so basically you need to understand why do we need to test the software. Whatever is written there, I think those are synonym. If you understand the basic, that why do we need to test software, then all these are saying the same thing itself. So
Mhm.
basically, whenever you are talking about a quality product, the performance should be effective, right? So to ensure that the performance of the software is effective, we need to test the software, and we need to test the quality of the software. And finally, it says that it's important to ensure that the application should not result into any failures, because it can be very expensive in the future or in the later stages of the development. So that is also there. There are different type of failures, or there are different type of bugs as well. Now when the requirement is coming from the end user or from the customer, there could be some bug in the requirement itself. We call it as a requirement defect. Okay, so if I we will talk about it later in the next slide, so I won't go into the detail. But what you need to understand is, the later you are getting the bug in the whole life cycle, the costlier it becomes for the developer to fix it, because there are a lot of things that are going simultaneously, or that goes behind. Because whenever we talk about a particular software, it has a lot of modules as well, or features which talks in between each other, right? So if I give you an example, let's check the example of Amazon.com. You have certainly used it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So the Amazon.com is a software, right? Is an application. But in that software, it has a lot of softwares which are integrated. Can you give me an example? Like in the Amazon, can you give me an example of a software which is already there? In a software, we are integrating some other software as well.
Where the customer support or
Hmm.
the what is it?
Just think
The,
about, don't think too much, okay? Just think about while you are ordering something. Do you use any other software there in Amazon.com? Just think of that. Just think of a scenario where you are ordering a particular gadget, a particular mobile phone from Amazon.com. What other things do you do, and where do you use a third-party application or a different software while using the Amazon.com? I think you will be able to answer. Don't think too much. Just think of the scenario that you are actually ordering something.
Yeah, so I want to see the different what they offer to me, and
Yeah.
then choose one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then buy it, and of course you use your cards.
Yes. Yes. So the payment module, right?
Mm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
is some other software, some other third-party software which is integrated with Amazon.com. So you get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of option there. You can pay through your wallet, you can pay through UPI, you can pay through cards and whatnot. You can pay through net banking. So there are a lot of options that are present there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is something which is a different software which is integrated with Amazon.com. Now the latter stage. So the software, the business softwares are a lot complex, and there are a different modules as well there. As like you are saying that when you are using the Amazon.com, first you open the Amazon.com, you search for a particular product, then you get a lot of products in the search result. Then you select a product, you add it to a cart, and then you go and do the payment, and then you are shown the confirmation that okay, your
Yeah.
item is ordered and it will be delivered to you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then like if you go behind the scene, the order is sent to the seller, and the seller approves the order, then it is sent to the courier, and the courier delivers it, and then it's updated in your profile as well, Amazon account as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you can also raise the refund request, you can raise the exchange request and whatnot, right? So
Yeah.
there are so many modules, integrated in a particular application, right?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
when you get a particular, and all these modules are talking to each other, the data is flowing from each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So all these are like tightly coupled, all these are talking to each other, and when you find a particular bug in a particular module, that might affect other modules as well, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just take the example of Amazon.com itself. Suppose when you are trying to add you're trying to buy two mobile phones, right? You're trying
Mm-hmm.
to buy iPhone 14, and you are trying to buy uh, two models of the same iPhone 14. So you are just adding two quantities there. You're trying to add two number of phone, and then you are going to the cart and you are doing the payment. Now,
Mm-hmm.
suppose from the product page, you are entering that you need two mobile phones, and then while you are going to cart, you are seeing there that there are three mobile phones that are coming to the cart. So this is a bug,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and the bug is coming because the modules are talking to each other, right? So you are selecting two number of mobile phones, and when you are going to cart, you are saying three, and now if you go to the payment, you will see that the total amount is coming as the multiplication of three
Mm-hmm.
mobile phones. So now you can see that if you are finding this bug at the later stage, as the modules are also talking to each other, the developers might need to find that okay, which module is giving us this bug, and so fixing that bug will be expensive as well, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the latter, in the whole process we get those bugs, it becomes more expensive
Expensive. Yeah.
to fix those bugs as well. So that's why we should always use to start our testing as soon as possible, finding those bugs as soon as possible, so that we can minimize the overall expense of the development or the delivery of a product, right?
Right.
These
Yeah.
are the different reasons that we need to test a software.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
You said requirements may have bugs too. How
Yes.
do you know that?
So the requirement might have bugs too, and that's why we need to analyze the requirement. And normally, like when we work in a particular product or work for a particular client, so the requirements are reviewed as well. There might be some time when during the review as well it is missed, because it's already written here, right, that humans are will make mistakes. So while reviewing as well, they might overlook the mistake, and then while it comes to the developer and the tester, so it might have some defect as well in the requirement. So in the complex business scenarios, right, there could be the requirement defect. And while you are analyzing the requirement, and while you will be deriving your test cases, will come to those later. You need to write your test cases, you need to prepare your test scenarios as your test planning. So during that time you'll be taking individual scenarios from the requirement, and you'll be focusing on them, and you'll be preparing your strategy, you'll be preparing your scenarios, you'll be preparing your test cases according to that. And while you do that, you will find those defects. So if you find those defects, you need to go back to the customer, you need to highlight that, okay, you have mentioned this particular thing, but now if we check it in this way, I don't think this is going to work. Okay. And if they also find that, okay, yes, there is some defect in the requirement, then they will make changes there, and accordingly the developers will also change their code, and you need to write your test cases or test strategy, test scenarios in that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So now the last section of today's class, will try to understand the principles of software testing. So these are the also very basic things, and you need to understand this to understand the very basic of software testing. We have already discussed, but there are some terms that you need to understand. Okay, and this will help you to grow yourself as a tester. If you understand, if you do understand these principles, this will help you to grow your mindset as well. So in this case, like I would suggest you to take the notes of all these different principles, and you do your research as well from your end, so that when we start the next class, uh, you do the revise, you do your own research, so that you are very clear about the principles of software testing. Okay. So
Mhm.
as you already know that software testing is also a creative, it's extremely creative and intellectually challenging task. Why? I mean, why do you think that it's also creative? Because we are not developing something, right? The developers are
Yeah.
developing. So why
Mhm.
is it mentioned that software testing is also an extremely creative task?
Because I think we have to think outside the box.
Exactly, exactly. So you need to think, okay, what are the different ways that I can use that software, and I can, why do we need or why do we do software testing? We do software testing to break the glass. We do the software testing to find the bug, and that is the
Mhm.
only motive of software testing. And
Mhm.
in that way, you need to be creative to find the bugs as well, right? You need
Yeah.
to find those edge cases through which you can find those bugs, and then you need to report to the developers. Because when the developers are developing a software, they don't consider those edge cases or those out of box scenarios. But as
Mhm.
a tester, you need to be creative, you need to think of those out of box scenarios, those edge cases, and then you need to strategize your testing in such a way. Okay, so that's why like you need to be creative, and it's also a challenging task. So these principles which are given below, so this will help you to be creative. This will help you to design your test and to execute your test, so that finally you can test all the scenarios, all the possible scenarios, and you can find those bugs, right?
Yeah.
So what is the first principle of software testing? The first principle of software testing is testing shows the presence of bugs. What do you understand by this statement?
When you test, you will know, like bugs meaning errors. You will know what
Yeah.
are the errors, like that will that is standing in the way of making a good product.
Yes, yes, exactly. So when we talk about software testing, and when we talk about the first principle of software testing, it tells us that testing shows the presence of defect. I mean, as a test engineer, when you are testing the application, you need to make sure that the application is bug free. And so while you will be testing, your only aim is to find the defects that are there in the software. So the primary purpose of doing testing is to identify the number of
Bugs.
unknown bugs. Yeah, the number of unknown bugs with the help of various method and testing techniques that are there. So what are these methods, or what are these testing techniques, that we'll see later in the upcoming courses. But the only thing that you need to understand, or you need to make the mindset, is we will be testing the software so that we can find the bugs. We are testing the software to find those bugs, and then we will be reporting those, so that the end goal is there should not be any deviation between the expected result and the actual result, right?
Yeah.
So by doing the testing of any application, we can decrease the number of bugs by finding those bugs, which doesn't mean that the application is defect free. As we are already saying that
Mhm.
it's almost impossible to have an application which is totally defect free. But the end goal is to make it as much as bug free, and the end goal is it there should not be any major bug. And even if there are any minor bug, you should report it. Let the the business owner, or let the product owner, let the management decide whether it has to be fixed or not. But whatever bug you are finding, you need to log it, or you need to report it. So your testing should show that the bugs or the defects are present in the application,
Mhm.
right? So that is the first
Yes.
principle. The second principle is exhaustive testing is impossible. So what do you understand by the term exhaustive testing? The exhaustive testing is basically testing all the testing everything and anything. So that is exhaustive testing. Okay. So is it possible, like when you have a very complex application, like we were talking about Amazon.com, it has so many features, it has so many modules, and testing each and every feature of that application is practically not possible. So exhaustive testing, yes, theoretically you can say that it's possible, but when you'll work on a live project, you will see that the exhaustive testing is not possible. It's very hard to test all the modules and their features with effective and non-effective combination of the input data. Because when you are testing a particular application, you need to have your test data as well, right? The data that with which you will be testing, right? If I give you a very simple application, if you're testing a even a calculator, you need the test data, right? The data you are providing for the addition, for the calculation, different calculation like multiplication, division. So for that, you need the test data. And now when you will be testing a very complex application, you need a lot of test data for that, for test to test different modules and different features. So testing all the different possible combination, the possible different uh, uh, combination of testing. So that kind of exhaustive testing is not possible. So what will be your strategy? So if you will go for exhaustive testing, it will take like boundless determination, and which is actually not possible. So you need to strategize your testing in such a way that you find the critical modules, you find the important module, and you do your testing in such a way so that, because you won't have a limitless time to test as well, right? You will have a boundary, and your testing will be planned in such a way so that your testing is stopped within that boundary, within that timeline. And within that timeline, you need to deliver your product as well. So in that way, your testing has to be strategized so that you do test the important and the critical modules, and you find the bugs out of there. And to do that, we'll see what are the different techniques that are present here. So you do understand, right, why this
Yeah.
is mentioned that exhaustive
Mhm.
testing is not possible.
Mhm.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the next principle is early testing. So we have already talked about it,
Yeah.
that early testing is required because from the requirement analysis. So the our involvement will start from the requirement analysis stage itself. When the when we'll get the requirement from the end user, from the customer, we'll start analyzing the requirement, and from there our involvement in the development life cycle begins, right? Now
Mhm.
from that stage, we need to identify the defect, be it a requirement defect, be after that, like you need to do the test planning, you need to do the test strategy, you need to write your test cases, you need to write your execute your test cases in the testing stage. So in each stage, you need to find bugs, and from the initial stage, you need to find bugs. Now, why is it stated that the testing has to be started early? Because like if we are having the requirement defect, and if you find the requirement defect in the early stage, then what will happen? Then the developers will find the resolved requirement, and they will develop it according to the updated requirement, right? And if they're
Yeah.
developing according to the updated requirement, so that means they are actually developing the correct product, which
Mhm.
won't have bug in the latter stage, right?
Yeah.
So the fixation of the bugs and the overall cost of the product is reduced, right? So that's
Yeah.
why we need the early testing so that we can find the bugs as early as possible, and which will eventually reduce the overall cost of the development of the product.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, you understand the early testing as well. Now
Yes.
we will see about the defect clustering. So defect clustering is a very very important thing to understand, and let's understand it with an example. So defect clustering is basically throughout the testing process, we will get different defects, right? But you uh, uh, as you'll have more experience with your testing, you will see that we won't be getting the bugs from all the features of the application. Yes, you will get some of the bugs from different features or different modules, but the major bugs will be coming from the modules which are more complex in nature, and that is also acceptable and expected as well, right? the more
Mhm.
uh, the more complex a feature is, the more the tendency of mistake will be there, and more like it will be the chance of having the bugs will be there, right? So for
Mhm.
that, you need to understand which module is more complex, and which modules are, you know, interacting with different modules, and which modules are integrated with each other. And accordingly, you need to strategize your testing as well, so that if a module is more complicated, you need to test that module in a more exhaustive order, right? So it is there is something called Pareto principle. You can just note it down. The principle of Pareto principle, which states that uh, we can according to which we can identify the approximity, right? That okay, the 80% of the complication is present on 20% of the modules. If our application is having 100 modules, and among those 100 modules, these 20 modules are very much complicated, and among those 20 modules, the 80 percent of the complication is present. 80% complication of the overall product is present in that 20% of modules, right? And so we need to focus more on those, on the testing of those 20 modules. So this is called the Pareto principle. I will share you a link as well. Let me share it right away. Uh, just let me search it. Okay. I have pinged you in the chat. Did you get it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is a link, I think, which you can refer, while you'll be revising, because if you look at the slide, the details are not there. But I would request you to, go through the details so that you understand this different principles. Okay. So the defect clustering, simply if I give you an example like the Amazon.com, if you look at the module like the cart, so that cart is integrated with different other modules like the search result page, the product page, and with the payment module. So all these are integrated with the cart module. So you can say that, okay, if I look at the bugs, so the bugs must be present there mostly from the cart module. So the 80% of the complication of the total Amazon.com is present in the cart module and in the payment module. So these are the 20% module of the overall module, and in this 20% of module, the 80% of the complexity of the whole application is there, right? So that is called the defect clustering. I mean, the defects will be clustered in those 20% of the module which are more complicated.
Mhm.
So if you are able to analyze that in the earlier stage, so you will be able to plan or strategize your testing in such a way so that you will be able to find those bugs from those complex modules, and that is called defect clustering and Pareto principle. Okay,
Okay.
are you able to understand, or if you have
Yes,
any
yes.
query, like you can ask me?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So the next is the pesticide paradox. What is pesticide paradox? So pesticide paradox is basically, in very simple terms, we need to update our test cases over the time, right? So it might happen that you have written your test cases when the product was developed and the product was released, but over the time there could be different changes in the application, there could be different feature addition in the application as well. And if there are changes in the application or if there are feature addition in the application, then your existing test cases whatever you have written, so those are not going to find the new bugs from the application, right?
Mhm.
So according to the changes, you need to add more test cases, or if there are feature changes, so accordingly you need to change your test cases as well. So that's why it's called pesticide paradox. That means the same set of test case is not going to help you to find new bugs, and that's why you need to uh, write your or change your test cases so that you get the new bugs out of the application,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, what does the next principle say? The next principle says testing is context
Context.
dependent. So, what does the context mean here? So, the context mean here is we have different domain, right? As we are talking, there are Amazon.com, which we are taking as an example. So, that is an e-commerce website. There are different healthcare applications as well as we are talking. There are different other health education application as well. There are different applications which are used in different across the domains as well, like this Zoom application. So your testing or your strategy of the testing has to be according to the domain as well. Like we will see about different tools that are used. Like if I give an example, I'm not very much sure that whether you will be able to understand that properly or not right now, but I'll just give you an example. Like in the banking sector or in the insurance sector, so they do have different applications which are called as ETL applications, right? They have a lot of data, because if you look at the banking transaction or the insurance domain transaction, each day in each section they are having billions and millions of transactions, and so that's why they have different tools or different applications which are called ETL tool or ETL application. Now for that, as if we are going for that kind of testing of those application, you need to understand what is ETL, and you need to understand different application or different testing techniques of ETL application, like the ETL testing, the guideware testing. So the main thing that I wanted to tell you is according to the domain, the testing techniques also change. And that's why
Mhm.
it's mentioned that the testing is context dependent, right? Whatever
Yeah.
domain you are into and whatever domain you are testing, accordingly, the testing techniques, the tools will also be changed. So that's why it's
Mhm.
mentioned that it's context dependent.
Mhm.
And finally, it mentioned that the last principle is the seventh principle is absence of error fallacy. So what does this say? So once the application is completely tested, you from the tester's point of view, you can say that there is no bugs there present before the release. You can say from the tester's point of view that okay, this application is 99% bug free, but at any point of time you can't say that this bug is absolutely bug free. And also there could be something where, like as we were talking about the requirement defect, right? There could be some incorrect requirement which was not identified throughout the development phase, like when you did your analysis or when the developers did their analysis, they are also not able to find that defect in the requirement. And finally you have tested as per the requirement itself, which was erroneous. The requirement was
Mhm.
also erroneous and it was not caught. So at the end, what we'll say that okay, the expected behavior and the actual behavior is same, right? Because we have tested as per the expectation, as per the requirement, and the end product is also fulfilling that requirement, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
as the requirement is erroneous itself, it is having a defect requirement itself. So there is actually a bug, but what anyone and everyone is not able to find, and that's why there is a error. If you look at the end product, there is a error, but as the error is in requirement itself, you are not able to find uh, uh, any difference in between the actual result and the expected result, right? So
Mhm.
this is called the absence of error fallacy. The error is there in the requirement itself, but as that error is not found throughout the development process, it you are not able to find the difference between the expected result and the actual result, but the error is actually there, and it will be found in the later stage, like when the product will be deployed and it will be used by the customer. At that time it will be noticed, or like at the time when the acceptance testing will be done by the users themselves. So at that time it might be caught, and then it will be come to the development team again. They will fix it, and that as a tester you need to update your test cases accordingly, and you need to retest that as well. But that
Mhm.
shows the absence of error fallacy, that okay, while you are giving it for the deployment to the application, or you are giving it to the user to for their acceptance testing, so it might seem to you that the application is bug free, but due to some certain scenarios, due to some certain error in the requirement itself, the bug or the error might be there in the application, which is not visible at that point of time. So that is called
Mhm.
absence of error fallacy.
Okay.
So that is all about the principles of the software testing, and I hope you are able to understand. But I won't expect you to understand everything, so that's why I will suggest you to revise these things. And if you have any query till now, you can ask me now, or if you find any query while you will be revising this thing, so you can ask me at the beginning of the next session, and
Sure.
I'll try to resolve those from my side.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Uh-huh.
So that's all like I had from this session. If you have any query till now, you can ask me now, or like we can end this session today. And in the beginning of the next session, I will again ask you if you have any query, and if you have any query, then we can
Sure.
we can go through those.
Thank you so much for today.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
review it and see if I have questions.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay,
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sanjay.
okay. I will just stop the recording.